Hey, hello, Emanuela. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear Darlington. Good evening. Good
All right.
evening.
Good evening. How are you doing now?
Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. All right. So we've actually gone live. So let's just give the guys more time to come in. At exactly 8:10, we'll be kicking off. At exactly 8:10. Okay, good evening everyone. Good evening everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for joining in. Tonight we will be having our first session for the second cohort, and with us today we have Emanuela. She's the assistant dev lead at BlockchainUNN, and she'll be the one taking us on a walkthrough Git and GitHub tonight. So please, guys, get the link and share it to more persons. Let's get a lot of persons benefiting from the wealth of knowledge that we'll be sharing tonight. So just get more persons into the call, and we'll be kicking off at exactly 8:10. So, but I want to confirm I can clearly be heard. So if you can hear me, guys, can you just probably alert me in the comment section? All right. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but if you can hear me, please can you let me know in the comment section. Okay, I'm still not getting any responses. Emanuela, please can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, all right, live and clear. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, so in less than 2 minutes we'll be kicking off. So yeah, guys. All right, guys. It's 8:10, so it's exactly time we begin. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening once again, and welcome to Blockchain UNN's weekly dev session. So like I said earlier, this is our second cohort, right? We just had the first cohort graduate from the Web3 Bridge cohort 8. That was few weeks ago, right? And the reasons why we hold these dev sessions, right, is to like prepare you guys for what's going to be coming. So we have the next cohort starting January, which I believe majority of us has already registered for. So the reason why we hold these weekly sessions is to prepare you in advance for what's coming. So when you get in, it doesn't look like something new and you can scale faster. So I believe a lot of us saw the assignments from last week, right? And I want to believe most of us already have an ID installed. So today we'll be following our curriculum, right? Following our curriculum, we'll be starting out with Git and GitHub. We'll be starting out with Git and GitHub, and we have our assistant dev lead, Emanuela, going here with us, and she'll be taking us through Git and GitHub tonight. So, guys, I just wanted to share the link. Share the link. Let's get more persons joining the live stream. And yeah, so Emanuela, please, if you can hear me, can you please unmute your mic?
All right. Yeah. I can hear you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our session tonight. Um, Darlington, are we good to go? Can we get started?
Yeah. We are. Please, we can get started.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right, everyone. Once again, you're welcome to our dev sessions. Darlington has handled the introduction already, so I wouldn't go through that. Today we are talking about getting started with Git and GitHub as a developer. So as a dev, one of the tools that you will definitely be working with is Git, and then you will be using GitHub alongside Git to work and collaborate. It forms part of what we know as version control systems, which help software developers to interact and collaborate on different projects that they are working on. So tonight we'll just run a brief introduction of Git, using Git in the command line, and just basically working with Git as a software developer. And of course, you have to know how GitHub works. So we'll be doing that tonight. But before we um, begin with that, we have to. I just want to use the first few minutes of this call to run through some basic hacks that you need to know as a software developer. So I have a PDF here which I will share. So let me quickly share my screen so that we get started. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. Please, could you bring my screen up?
Oh,
And
sorry about
yeah,
that.
no problem. Okay. So I believe you all can see my screen now. I guess. Darlington, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
All right. Let's get started. So let me quickly run us through these slides on the hacks that you need to know as a software developer. So basically we are running these sessions, and it is believed that to an extent some of us here are beginners. So, and there are some challenges that we face as beginners whenever we all faced these challenges, right? Getting started in a field like software development, um it's not so easy to navigate. So there are some simple tips that you need to know actually to help make your learning process easier. So we're running this because aside from the normal training that you would take, your own personal learnings and everything, there are some important things that you just really have to be aware of. So let's just quickly do this kind of like a very short orientation before we go straight into what we have for today. So this is what we'll be covering for today. We'll be running through introductions, choosing a niche, blah blah blah. And just really quickly, really quickly, because we don't have time. Um well, I can assume that if you're here, you probably know the niche you want to be in. But let's just assume that you're totally new to all of this, and we just quickly run through them. So in software development, generally, we have or rather in web development, we have the front end and the back end of websites, web pages, and like you might be able to guess from the name, front end has to do with the parts of the website that you see and interact with. The back end is what happens behind the scenes, basically. That's basically that keeps the engines running behind, that kind of thing. So and also, you being part of BlockchainUNN, there's a huge chance that you are probably interested in blockchain development. So there's also the front end part of blockchain development, and then the back end too. So but when it comes to web development, like you probably know already, before you can become a blockchain developer, in case that is where what trajectory you're trying to go on, before you can become a blockchain developer, you need to go through you need to know some things about Web2 development, right? You need to be quite solid with your Web2 development before you can become a blockchain developer. So basic web development, which is the first part of this screen, this part of it is enough to make you a Web2 developer, and basically solid enough to get into blockchain development. So when it comes to web development, we have front end, and for you to become a front end developer, you need to know some technologies, which include HTML. HTML5 is the latest version. CSS3. You need to know JavaScript. You need to know Tailwind. Tailwind is a CSS library that you're working with, basically to make your workflow easier. React JS is a JavaScript library too that helps make your workflow easier. And then we have other we have frameworks like Vue.js, Angular, Next.js, TypeScript. So basically, getting started, what you need to know is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then you can now take this extra technologies, right, to help you be solid. You don't need to know everything, so don't get overwhelmed. So, but these are examples of things that you need to know, and then you can call yourself a front end developer, right? And then we have the back end part of it, where we have Node.js, we have languages like PHP, Python, Ruby on Rails, C++, and the rest of them. As you can see, there's etc. So there are other languages too that you can write that makes you a back end developer. And if you are able to combine front end and back end, then you can call yourself a full stack developer. So full stack is also a niche that is possible. So basically, full stack is someone that builds both front end and back end parts of websites. And then we get into blockchain development. So as it is in web development, you can see that blockchain development is also the front end part of it and also the back end part. So for the front end of building blockchain applications, you can see that there's for the front end, still need this, basically these skills that you need to be a regular front end web developer. They will still come in handy if you're getting into blockchain development. So you still need your usual HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then the libraries and frameworks surrounding them. And then you need to learn things like Web3 JS now. You need to learn maybe Ethers JS, and then you need to know how to use MetaMask. MetaMask is a crypto wallets, blockchain wallets. You need to learn that. You need to learn Solidity. Um, that's anyway, that's optional. And then for the back end, you learn languages like Solidity, Viper, Rust, either of them. These languages work with different networks actually. So you need to learn how this, depending on the network you need to be working, you want to be working on as a blockchain developer. That's what will determine the language you learn, and that's actually how it is in software development generally. The what you want to work on most times determines the language that you work with and the language that you learn. So that's that. And then you also need to learn things like truffle, hard hats. These are just technologies that you need to know to get to work on the back end of the blockchain. Now, this is not for you to get overwhelmed or anything, but basically this is to just to give you an insight into what is out there and what is possible and what is obtainable for you. So, but basically you are still getting started. So when you get into Web3 Bridge, um you're going to be doing basic front end web development in Web3 Bridge, and which is a place to start. And then gradually you can advance and get into other areas that you want to. But Web3 Bridge will give you that solid foundation you need first of all. So for the next page, we now look at tools that every developer should know and should be able to work with. And from here, we have Chrome extensions. So Chrome extension, you all know the popular browser Google Chrome. So Google Chrome helps you to work. It helps make your workflow easier. So basically, these tools that we'll be sharing now are actually supposed to make your workflow easier, so that you don't have to. I mean, it's all about ease, right? So you need to be able to work. Um, your workflow has to be smooth to an extent. So that's also part of the mark of a good developer. You need to know how to find easy ways to do things. Easy and not, it doesn't mean that you find the easy way to do things and probably do rubbish. But you have to actually just know how to make your workflow easier so that you get to deliver projects faster. So some tools that you can learn how to work with include Chrome extensions like GitHunt, which will help you to find them trending GitHub projects, WordFont, Color Picker, Mobile Simulator, Lorem Ipsum Generator, React Developer Tools. This PDF file will be shared for you guys later so that you can go through them. So I'm just trying to run through quickly so that we don't spend too much time on this. So, but these are the some basic Chrome extension. This is not all there is out there. There are other Chrome extensions too that you
That's
can
what
work
that
with. But the
movie.
thing is, as you go further,
Into the
you
class so
can.
I can work it. Is it for the
All right,
opportunity?
please
Okay.
excuse
Oh
me.
shit.
Excuse me for a minute. Darlington, are you speaking to me?
Sorry, no, not you, not you. I was actually talking to my sister. Sorry about that,
Okay.
please. I didn't know my mic was not mute. My mic was not muted.
All right, no problem, no problem. So yeah, let's continue. Let me. Okay. So guys, in case you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll keep my eyes on the comment section so that if you have any questions, I can see them. So yeah, that's for Chrome extensions. There are other ones too, actually. So, but as you advance, you get to learn about these things. You don't necessarily need to bother yourself trying to get used to everything at once or start working with every technology at once. It doesn't work that way. So you just have to know the basics, and with time, you see yourself advancing and becoming better. So that's that about Chrome extensions. The next tool that you probably need to learn how to work with are collaboration tools. So as a developer, chances are that maybe let's say close to 60-70% of the time you will be working with other developers. You'll be working with other people, not just developers anyway. So but you'll be working with people. The number of times you will need to work on a solo project would probably be lesser than the times that you need to work with others, depending on what path you decide to follow anyway. But most developers work with other people. So if you're going to be working with people, then you need to definitely learn how to collaborate. So we have tools like GitHub. GitHub is an online platform, yeah, that helps developers to collaborate and work together. So we'll get to GitHub later, and you see how what it looks like. So it helps people building a project to collaborate and work together. I like to see GitHub as kind of like social media for developers, something like that. But you don't necessarily have to see it that way. You just need to understand how it works. You understand? So there's GitHub, there's ClickUp, Asana, there's Slack, there's Zoom. So basically, these are the tools that you need to work with. You might not even need to get to work with all of them. Just depending on the team that you're with, you need to learn how these things work, right? So other tools include like CSS tools and websites. So these websites can help you to get better with your CSS, help you to generate assets that you would be working with when you get to write CSS codes, and basically when you begin to build websites, right? So these things will come in handy. Like I said earlier, this PDF will be shared to you so that you get to go through them and um, possibly visit this website too and get more information. So now we come to the aspect of finding solutions as a developer. So basically, when you, as you have become a developer now, you are becoming one, you're on your road to becoming one, um, you would encounter a lot of problems actually. So the main essence of you being a developer is now for you to deliver solutions for the problems that you see that are out there, and then you have to give solutions to them, right? So you learn how to solve these problems using codes. So while you understand this main focus, you also now have to develop the ability to find solutions to your problems, right? So there are platforms that have been created by other developers to make the work easier. So you have to make these platforms your friends, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So you have to become close to them and learn how to use them. So these things would help you. So they've been built there, and they're for you to ask questions and get answers. So we have platforms like Stack Overflow. I'm sure you may have heard about it, but even if you haven't, you will eventually, or you are hearing about it now and you will get used to it. So that is, knowing how to search for answers to your questions, knowing how to ask questions is one of the marks of a good developer. So you'll be working with platforms like Stack Overflow for Web2 developers, and then we have Stack Exchange, Ethereum Stack Exchange for Web3 developers. So they help you, like it's a platform where that you can come and ask your question, and another person would that knows about what you're asking would give you a solution, probably even share code snippets, and you can replicate that and get your code to work. You too, you could come across a question somebody is asking and you have answers to it. You can provide answers. So it's basically like a community something, right? To help everybody to become better. So there's that, and then there's of course Google. So Google should be your friend as a developer. Sorry about that. Google should be your very good friend as a developer, right? There are some questions that you see people asking, um, and you find out that these questions are actually these questions can be found on Google, right? And most times, maybe when people try to correct people about this, they probably don't do it the right way. But um, there are some questions that frankly, Google has the best answer for you than asking. But this is not to say that you shouldn't ask questions. Actually, you must ask questions. You must always ask questions. No matter, there's no question that is too stupid or anything. There's no question that is too foolish or maybe too little. So you must learn to ask questions, and that is why it's good that we even have a community where you can come and ask your questions and get answers. So, but you have to learn how to Google whatever question you have, whatever, maybe you are having a minor error in your code or something. So you can drop these questions on Stack Overflow. You can drop your question on on maybe a group chat that you're part on. You can drop your question on Google. Just search the major keywords on Google, and you might find your answer quicker on Google than waiting for someone to actually answer you. Because most times you drop questions, and because people are not available to answer you, it seems like you're being ignored. So you actually have to learn how to Google. So we have provided like a little roadmap to help you on how to get help. So you have to Google the error you're seeing. You have to check Stack Overflow, in case most times when you even search an error message you're getting, or maybe when you search for something, how to do this, how to do this, how to do this. Most times the first, you know how a Google search page appears, right? So most times the first answer you get is actually coming from Stack Overflow. So that's how much developers rely on Stack Overflow for help. You get. So I think I've seen a meme somewhere that says that a developer's biggest nightmare is hearing that Stack Overflow is down. So that's how important it is to you as a developer. Most, or if not, just most of your questions, actually you get answers to them on Stack Overflow, because other people have seen these things and they are there to help you. So yeah, this is how to get help. Google it, you check on Stack Overflow, and then you can make an issue. You can create an issue on a repository. So we will get to creating issues and all of that. So creating issue is like identifying a problem that a particular project is having. Maybe they've built a product, and you've identified a problem, or maybe a feature that you don't like, or maybe you even want to add a new feature, right? You can just open an issue on their GitHub repository, explain what the issue you've seen is, and if they permit you, you can now work on it and send your solution to them, basically. So that's just a brief overview of what it means to create an issue on GitHub. But that's it. Now you can ask your questions in a forum. Like I said earlier, you have to be very open to asking questions. You can ask on our BlockchainUNN groups. You can ask on whatever other developer forums you're part of, but be very open to asking questions, because that is all you need to be better. So you can also, yeah, like the last point, ask a question in any related Discord community. So it's still the same thing we're saying. Learn how to ask questions to people that are that know better than you, right, and get answers. Now again, you have to know how to Google effectively, right? You need to know how to you have to understand that Google is your friend. You get. So you don't even have to feel bad about using Google or anything. It's built to help you. It's a search engine, right? So you have to actually use it for what it is, which is to search for solutions to your problems, or yeah. So that's that. You have to learn how to use Google. Some tips for googling effectively have been shared below. So you have to maybe search, wrap your search in quotes, so that it matches the exact search key you're looking for. So if you're looking for something like this, you can just put it in quotes, like hello world, put it in quotes, and you can find what you're looking for. If you want your results to come from a particular site, you can write the site, you can use this format here. You can use this format here, site, and then colon, you put the site, the website address you want to, and then the search term you're looking for. So this is an example now. So for instance, if you want results from just hello.com, you do something like this. You put site, and then you put hello.com, indicating that this is the site you want your answer to come from, just hello.com. And then in the next search key, you put what you're looking for, right? Also, if you want to exclude certain words from your search term, you just use minus, kind of. So you can put something like this. You're still searching for from hello.com, so you're searching for hello world, but you're now excluding the word greeting. So whatever Google brings out for you now will not include this word greeting, right? So if you want to filter by year, the same thing. You can search what you can put in your search key, and then you now say, okay, you add the year you're expecting. If you're expecting results that come after 2005, just do this. Google already knows how to bring the correct answers to you. If you're searching before, you can still do the same thing, the same syntax, basically. If you are searching for a particular file type, the same thing is what you have to do. So you have to specify the file type. Like, as you can see, for instance, here, you specify that you're looking for like a PDF file. So you write file type PDF, and Google knows what to bring for you. If you're looking for websites that are related to a particular website, you can just do this. So this search key, like I said earlier, this PDF will be shared so that you can go through it when you are free and actually understand everything, all the terms. So we'll get to learning how to ask high quality questions. You get. So the truth is, while we encourage people to ask questions, there are some questions that there's a way you structure your question to ensure that you get answers quickly. So that's one thing that you need to be aware of. You need to structure your questions well, so that first of all, the person you are asking, let the person actually understand you, and then be able to provide the solution that you seek. So you need to, when you're asking questions like in forums, maybe in group chats or places like Stack Overflow, so you have to explain. You could start by explaining how you came about this. What First of all, you explain what you were trying to do. So I was trying to do this along the line. I experienced this error. So this is what I've been seeing, and now I don't know how to go about it. Just explain the steps so that it would be easier for somebody to try to understand what's going on with your code, right? Because the person was not there watching you write it. So you have to explain in such a way that they understand what's going on, and then if it's something they know about, they can provide answers. So you also have to make sure that you structure your question in such a way that if another developer comes across it tomorrow, your question will probably be what helps them. So I know for myself that most times when I search for things on Google or Stack Overflow, the question that comes up, or the solution to my problem, will probably be like an answer to a question that somebody asked previously. Do you understand? Now, if that person had not structured their question well, it probably wouldn't have helped me today. So most times I see that when I'm going through my Stack Overflow results, I'm saying that this question was asked like maybe as far back as 5, 6, 7 years ago. Do you understand? So maybe you see a question from like maybe 2020, maybe 2017, and the answer it was also answered then, but then you now see the time, like you see the questions, you see people providing different answers, different formats that you can even try. And okay, maybe if one person's solution doesn't work for you, you can try the other solution. So this is what these platforms give to you, but then you have to be able to structure your question in a way that they can actually understand. And also people that have that same question is that have that same issue in the future, it can also be helpful to them. So I think that's all for the tips that we have for you. The tips you need to know about as a software developer, a web developer. These are just the basic tips that you need to be aware of. So now we will get into getting started with Git and GitHub. But before we do that, let me quickly confirm that there are no questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments so I can see them. But if there are no questions, I guess we can carry on. Okay. All right. Okay, I don't see any questions. So let's just get started with Git and GitHub. So yeah. All right. So we have this. We have to like I said earlier, you need to learn how to work with Git and GitHub as a developer, right? So Git, just a brief introduction. Git is like a version control system, basically. So what version control means is a system that helps you to keep track of the work you're doing, keep track of your project, and be able to um revert maybe to a previous version or something. So excuse me, let me give an instance right now. So let's assume you're working on something, you have a project you're working on, right? And then all of a sudden you make an error, or you just you do something that there's really no way for you to actually like save this file again. And so maybe you make an error that there's no way that you can even reverse. There's no way for you to even get to correct this error. So, but if now if you're working with a system like Git, if you have Git if you have initialized Git for that project you're working with, what it will simply do for you is that you can now go back to a previous version of that thing, of that project, and just continue from there as though nothing happened. You get. So this is just a little explanation of what Git can do for you. So there are the possibilities of what you can achieve with Git are actually more. There are a lot. So, but this is just a few of them. Just a brief introduction rather of what version control is. So I'm sorry, I keep interchanging version control with Git. So, but the truth is that Git is just a version control system. So an instance is okay. Let me use search engines for example. The most popular search engine that we know is Google. So most times somebody's trying to say search engine and they could say Google, but you know that Google is just an example of a search engine, right? So there are other search engines that exist, like maybe Yahoo, maybe Bing, and all of those ones. So that's just an instance. So now Git is an example of a version control system. There are other version control systems too that exist. But Git is, I think, the most popular one that you'll find most people using. So now we come to GitHub. So when you hear, most time it's common for new developers to be confused about Git and GitHub. So you're saying these two things, like what exactly do they mean? What is Git? What is GitHub, right? So I've explained that Git itself is like a version control system, and then GitHub is a website, yeah, I guess I can call it that, a platform basically for you to be able to interact with developers, create repositories, and host them online. So what GitHub does for you is that you can now push your codes to the cloud. Kind of, you store your codes in an online storage facility, so that even if you lose your device, even if you do anything, you can always get your codes from anytime. So basically, if you're working with Git on your project, Git only stores that project for you in your local machine, in your computer alone. So whenever if I'm working with a project now and I just initialize Git, it's only available to me locally. So now if I want to collaborate, this is where GitHub comes in. Now this is where GitHub can be helpful, because now I can push my codes to my GitHub repository, which is online. Now another person can go there and fetch that particular project that put there and just work with it. So this is even what kind of powers open source and all of that. But let's not divert too much. So basically, what I'm trying to say is GitHub helps you to collaborate with people. It helps you to even store your code. So like I said earlier, if you're working with Git alone, if you lose your device, you probably lost everything, because the Git is initialized to your device, to your hard drive alone. But if you have it on GitHub, even if you change your computer, even if you change what you're working with, you can always log into your repository and all your projects are there for you. You get. That's why you see most times developers are working on projects that you don't even necessarily need to lose your device. Maybe you're working on a project that's it's maybe you have something really heavy and it's probably like lagging your device. What you do is you push it to your GitHub and you can now be free to delete it from your device, because you know that whenever you need it, you can always get it online. So GitHub is just basically, you can call it like a cloud storage system for codes. And it doesn't just store it, it helps you also to collaborate with other people. Now if whatever, as long as a project is open, like it's open to the public, you can check GitHub and be able to access what the codes of that particular project and what they've been able to do with it. Now I know I'm just talking for now, but I just want to give a brief explanation of all this. We will still get to seeing these things in real time and just see how they work. So yeah. So let's quickly go through this. So Git and GitHub, although they're similar in name, they're two different things. So Git is, like I said, an open source version control tool was created in 2005 by developers that were working on the Linux operating system. So while GitHub is a company that was founded in 2008, so it makes tools that integrate with Git. So now one important thing for you to note is that you don't need GitHub to use Git, but you cannot use GitHub without Git. What it simply means is that I can basically be working with Git on my own on my computer. It does what I needed to do, which is to store snippets of my code and just keep my code, just store um not snippets, rather snapshots of my code, right? I needed to have different versions of my code so that whatever version I want to revert to, I can always easily do that. So that's what Git does for me. I can work with that just as a version control system. But if I want to use GitHub, I can't use GitHub without working with Git. Like it's not really possible, right? So that's it. And then there are alternatives to GitHub actually. If you decide that you don't want to use GitHub, you can use things like Bitbucket, you can use things like GitLab. So these things, they also make use of the Git version control system. So basically, you can use your Git in collaboration with Bitbucket or GitLab, whichever one you want to. So basically, these platforms also function like GitHub in that they help you to collaborate and share your codes with other people, and also store your codes online too. So some actions that we will learn today, some Git actions that we'll learn, we have to learn some basic command line interface commands. We have to learn how to initialize a Git repository. We have to learn how to stage and commit our changes. We have to learn Git branching, and then how to create and push your codes to a GitHub repository. And depending on our time, we'll most likely run through all of this today. But even if we don't, we have another class on Friday, so we can be able to do these things then. So let's run through some commands. I'll just show these commands, and then we will go into practice, so that we can actually see what all these things we are talking about, right? So this is what we have. So these are some basic command line commands. So we have the pwd. So what pwd means is print working directory. It helps you to print the current directory that you're working in. Directory can you can look at directory as a folder. So your directory is like the folder you're working with, and then cd is used to change directories. You use it to move from one directory to the other. You use ls to list the files and folders in the current directory you're in. You use touch to create a new file. You use mkdir, which is make directory. You use it to create a new directory. You use rm to remove or delete a file. You use rm-r to delete a directory and all of its contents. So rm just deletes a file for you. A file is different from a directory, please take note. While rm-r helps you to delete a directory and everything inside it. So quickly, let's talk about -r is what you call flags when you talk about command line commands. So dash, you see things like maybe -r, you see things like -u or just dash and a letter. Basically, you call it flags. So what these flags do is that they help to add extra instructions or specificity to the command you're trying to make use of. So you can also, for instance, if I'm trying to use list now, ls to list the files in a directory, I can just type ls and it prints the files that I have in that particular directory. But it doesn't show me everything. There are hidden files that it doesn't print. So when I now add -a, it's list. Now -a stands for all. Like, let's list every single thing for you, both the hidden files and the unhidden one. So now using list-a lists everything that you have going on in that directory. So this is what flags can do for you. They just help to add extra instructions and make your commands function a particular kind of way. So we have cp, which is used to copy a file from one directory to another. We have clear. You use this to clear your terminal, maybe when your terminal is getting is getting too full, you just type clear intermittently just to clear it. So these are the basic commands that we'll be looking at. So let's just quickly get into practicing this. So I think let me quickly get GitHub so that you can see what GitHub looks like. GitHub.com. The interface, in case this is your first time looking at it. So this is what GitHub looks like. We have not gotten into the command line. I just wanted to quickly show us what the GitHub homepage looks like. So you go to github.com. In case you don't have a GitHub account yet, you need to create one. So you can just come here and sign up. Click sign up. All right, you have to do this. Enter your email, right? And just go through the whole entire sign up process. I don't really need to sign up because I have an account yet, which I'm already signed into. So let me go back. We'll get into my account when we want to maybe clone, when we get to cloning and forking repositories. So, but this is what you need to, this is what GitHub looks like. So I came here in case you don't have GitHub, a GitHub account, you need to get one. And that's that. So let's get into the command line and see how. Let's look at some basic command line commands. So this is my terminal. This is the terminal application that I make use of. So we'll be doing some basic command line commands and then also some basic Git commands. So
Vanilla, I think you might want to zoom in a little. It's not so clear.
okay. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Let me do that. Let's see. I sense control plus. All right. Okay, how is this?
Yeah, this is better now. This is better.
Okay. Right, so currently I'm in the root directory of my, sorry about that. I'm in the root directory of my computer. So the root is like the main directory where everything on your computer is. So when I do this, you see everything that exists on my computer, right? All of this information. So but let me clear this quickly so that we can get started. So this is the root. So we'll get started with let's do cd. Cd is used to change directory, right? So if I want to get into my desktop, so whatever I'm doing, I'll be doing it from my desktop directory. So I want to cd into desktop. I will type cd desktop, right? And it leads me inside my desktop. So if you can see here now, it shows this tilde sign stands for, it shows that I'm in the root directory. As you can see here, I was in the root directory over here. So but now it shows now that I've entered into my desktop. As you can see, you have /desktop. So I'm in my desktop directory or folder. So while here in the desktop, I'm going to create like a sample file for the sake of this tutorial. I'm just going to create a sample file, not files, rather sample folder that will work with tonight. So we'll be doing this from the command line. So you just get used to working with the command line. It might be let me quickly just add, it might be tough at first, but with practice you get used to working with the command line because it makes it easier. I can say it's easier and it makes your work easier. It makes your work better rather as a developer. So you need to get used to working with the command line. I know probably if you have, in case you have experience working with it, you might just be creating your repositories from there, doing all of that. But you need to get used to working with the command line basically. So this is just a few tips. So let's get started, please. Let's stop. All right, so I'm in the desktop directory right now, and before I can do anything, I will now want to create another. I will want to create another directory so that I can work with that. So let me just to create a directory. We do mkdir, remember, which stands for make directory. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to name it Git tutorial. Let's just go with that. I'm going to Git tutorial. So I'm just going to name it Git tutorial. So I've created this, but as you can see, I'm still in my desktop. So even if I do anything, it happens in desktop. So I want to get into this directory that I've created now. So to do that, I'll also do what cd and Git tutorial. Now I'm inside here, as you can see, I'm inside Git tutorial, right? Now this particular directory is empty. Let's see. When you type list, you can see that there's nothing. List doesn't return anything, right? Because I just created it, so it's empty. There's nothing inside it. So, and if you remember from here, I showed you that okay. So we have we've used so far, we've used cd, we've used list. Now we've used make directory. So now we have to create a some. So I want to show you something actually before we get started building. I'm sorry, give me a minute. Darlington, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, sorry. I'm actually just checking the comments now. So I'm seeing some questions. All right. Obina, you'll get the presentation later. So sorry about that. I wanted to show something here. Okay. Thank you very much, Grace. So I wanted to show something. I created a directory. I want to show you guys that directory. Okay, this is it. Let me bring it out here so it's more visible. Sorry, my desktop is a bit full. So this is the directory I just created over here. So this is, let's open it and we can see that it's empty. So this folder is empty. So I just literally created this now, and this is it. So it's empty. So I open this, so I will show you guys something. So let me go back to my command line. So now I want to create some files. So I like I said earlier, when you are working as a developer, you need to work with technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? But even you can also work with some other kind of files, not just HTML files or CSS files. So, but to create a file, basically, you use the command touch. So when you type touch, let's say I want to create an index.html file. If you've written HTML before, index.html should be common to you. So these are files that you tend to work with as a developer. Um, Basically, .html is the file extension that you'll be working with. You mustn't name it index anyway, but your file has to end with .html for your computer to recognize that it's a HTML document. So, but we are not getting into that now. For now, we're focusing on working with Git commands, right? So let's just do that. So we are creating an index.html file. I've created it, right? Let me create another file. Let me create a text file. I'm going to call this text and to end the text document. Okay, let me name it something else. Let me say um okay, let me just call it tutorial. Right, so I'm just going to create tutorial.txt. txt stands for a text file. So txt is like a file extension that shows you that what you've created is just a text file. So I've created this. Now, so far I have two files created, right? Let me do list now. So remember that the first time I typed list here, it did not return anything. So let me try list again and see what it shows me. So as you can see, I've created, this is what I have. I can see that I have index.html. I have tutorial.txt. I just created these files now, and when I use list, it's showing me this. Let me go back to my desktop and find and see if it has come in here. So now you can see I have an index.html, I have tutorial.txt. These two files are empty. If you can see here, it shows zero kilobytes. So these two files are empty, and it shows that I created them on 17th of October at 8:59, which is the time right now. So this is what it works, or how it works. And this screen that you can see here, what you can see here is what you know as the GUI. I think I should have said this earlier. This is what you know as the GUI, the graphical user interface, right? This is what you are probably used to getting started with using a computer. This is what you know how to work with. But the command line makes your workflow easier. The command line is what we have here. So this is my command line application. It makes your workflow easier as a developer. It doesn't just make it easier, it gives you access to a lot of things that you probably not be able to do on your GUI. Your command line gives you the ability to manipulate files in different ways. But anyway, as you go on, as you go ahead, you learn these things. So my 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 screen is getting full, and I don't really like my screen being full. So let's just quickly clear what we have. If you remember from our the presentation earlier, I told you that clear is used to clear your terminal. When your terminal gets full like this, you just type clear command and it clears it. You get, but I can bring back the last command I used. I can run through the previous commands I've used by using my up arrow, the up arrow on your keyboard. You can just use it, and you can see that the last command I used was clear. If I press it again, it shows me that the last thing I used was list. So let me just enter list, and this is what I have. So I've created two files so far. Now I have this. I'm inside my Git tutorial, so I also want to let me create a folder still inside Git tutorial. So I want to show you when you use list, the difference between a file and a folder. So let me just create a new directory inside Git tutorial. So I'm going to create this directory and call it CSS. Let's just say that this is a folder that I want to use for my CSS. So I've created it, and let me list this is in my Git tutorial directory that I'm doing this, which is the main directory I'm working with. So when I list now, you can see this. You can see the color of this now. This particular place is different. So this one that is different now, this one that shows CSS, it shows you that this is a directory, right? But these ones that are white, these ones are just files. You understand? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's a difference between a file and a folder, or in other words, a directory. So this is my CSS directory. So let me cd into CSS, cd into CSS, and now I'm inside CSS. Of course, I only created the file. There's nothing inside it. So if I use list, you can see that it doesn't return anything. There's nothing inside it. But because I'm inside CSS, let me now create a file and put here. So I'm just going to do touch again, yet again, touch, and then give it styles.css. These are probably names that you probably be working with, but it's not. There's no rule book that says you must use this name. So, but it's just what we call convention. These are most developers, right? So I'm going to create styles.css, and when I list it again, you can see that I have styles.css in my CSS directory. Now, one thing you need to be very careful of when you're working with the command line is that you have to always pay attention to where you are at, the directory that you are at. You need to always pay attention, because let's assume that I want to create another file now. I want to create a file in my Git tutorial, but I am not paying attention. I wouldn't know that I'm in CSS. You get, and then I will just create the file here. But I want that file to appear in Git tutorial. If I go back to my Git tutorial, I won't find the file I'm looking for because I didn't put it where I was supposed to put it. So you need to pay attention to where you are. And this brings us to one command that you should make your friend, which is pwd. Pwd stands for print working directory. So when you enter it, it shows you where you are at. So when you look at this now, you can see that in my computer, in the admin, from admin, which is like the root, you can see that I'm in desktop. You remember when I seeded into desktop, and then from desktop I created the Git tutorial directory, and then I created CSS. So CSS is a directory inside Git tutorial, and then Git tutorial is a directory inside my desktop. This is how it goes. It goes just far back like that. So I'm going to now Another command that you need to um know about is cd. You know about cd already, so let's say I want to go back now. I'm already inside css, inside this css directory, so you're probably wondering, what if I want to go back? So you can do this cd and dot dot. It takes me back. It takes me back to the parent directory. The parent is, there's, you probably get used to, as you learn web development, you get used to hearing terms like parents and child and descendants and all of that. So you see this in different things that you work with. So the parent directory is the parent directory of css. This is css. So css can be said to be the child directory of git tutorial, while you can say that git tutorial is the parent directory of css. So when I do cd and dot dot full stop, not one full, two full stop. So when you do it like this, it takes you back one step in your parent directory. So I'm back to where I want to be, which is git tutorial. So far I have two files in my git tutorial folder. Let me clear this again. I have two files inside here and one directory. Let's see that quickly. So this is what I'm working with. Um, if you have VS Code installed in your system and you want to open it, you can, if let's say I want to open this index.html, I want to open it from my command line. I can do something like this. I can write code and let's use it to open tutorial.txt. You see what I mean? So you can see that it just opened my VS Code for me. If you have installed the ex- the ID is like we said. So this is what VS Code stands for, Visual Studio Code. So this is going to help you so much. This is where you'll be writing your code most of the time. So the other IDs that you can actually make use of, the other code editors you can use, there's Atom, there are other ones, but VS Code is it's a bit, it offers you more. Okay, so yeah, you can work with VS Code. So now I opened it with VS Code because I just use this in case you are working with VS Code. But depending on other IDs that you could possibly be working with, let's assume that I'm working with Atom and I want to open this file in Atom. I can use Atom index.html. Now these things you can also find them on Google. Whenever you have any condition, any confusion about any of these things, you can always check them on you can always check on Google and find if it opens what you need it to open for you. So over here, you can see that my Atom is coming up. I typed Atom and I want to use it to open index.html. So it's coming up, it's loading. So these are things that you get used to when you are working with things like this. Okay, it has opened index.html for me over here. I will need to remove all this welcome guide. Atom does this most of the time. It shows in welcome guys. So this is the index.html, and like you can see, it's an empty file. I've not written anything in it, right? So this is what I have. So these are a few of the IDs that you should be working. I just showed what these IDs look like, but in case you have any question on this session, is not supposed to be about IDs, but in case you have any questions, you're free to drop here or on the group chat so that we can clear you. So these are a few of the basic command line tools, commands. um Now we have to get into working with git commands. So now this I'm inside my git tutorial directory, right? I'm working with it, but anything, if I mistakenly lose any file here, or if I make an error, let's say that I have my let me open my let me use VS Code and open index.html. Let me just quickly show you something. So I've opened this file over here. I've opened index.html over here, and I can see that. Let me take this out. So I have index.html here, and let's assume that I'm working on this. I'm working on this file. Let's Please don't worry about the shortcuts I'm making use of for now. When we get to the HTML class, we'll break these things down for you so that you learn them. Basically how this structure and everything is. So let's assume that if you are already familiar with working with HTML, maybe this might not be confusing for you. But in case it is, don't worry about it. We are getting there. So let's assume that I'm working with this file. I'm probably trying to do something. Let's say I'm trying to create some heading tags. Um, what's going on? Anyway, so there, this is it. So I'm trying to do something like this. I'm working on building a website, kind of. I'm doing something, right? So I have this going on. I have my name is Manuela. I do something like this again, paragraph. So these are a few of the basic HTML tags you'll be working with. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to put lorem ipsum over here just to save us time, so I don't have to write too much. Okay, so in case you are not used to it, lorem ipsum is dummy text that helps you when you're working as a developer, as a designer. In case you probably building a website but you don't have the content you need for now, you can just use generate lorem ipsum. If you remember from the other PDF, while we were talking about software hacks that you need to know, so we showed there was a website that you can visit, lorem ipsum generator. So it helps you to generate this dummy text. VS Code also has it, so it just gave me this text. So what I'm trying to say, in case you are working on a website and the text is not ready yet, you can just fit in lorem ipsum until the text comes, and then you can just replace it. So let's assume I'm working on this project now, and maybe something happens, and then I fall asleep on my computer. You understand? Maybe I fall asleep and then I come and delete. Maybe it doesn't even necessarily have to be falling asleep, but I'm just using falling asleep for an instance. So maybe I come and I change this now. So instead of having my name is Emmanuel, I'll probably come and write my name is maybe my name is Daniel. You understand? And then I save it, and that's just it. Do you understand? Now, of course, sometimes Control Z can save you. You get, but just assume that I've made an error that there's no way for me to come back from this error, right? I could have like a complete HTML page, like I've built my entire web page, and now I've made an error that there's no way for me to correct it, right? What it will mean is that I will have to delete the entire work, because when I wake up in the morning now and I say, okay, maybe I even add some rubbish, you understand, and just save these things, and then I wake up in the morning and I'm looking at this and I can't make sense of what I have on the screen, you understand? Depending on the volume of the work, maybe if it's something like this, I can clear everything off, I can delete everything and start all over again. But if it's a complete web page that I've built and it has scattered everything, then you can see that I'm probably done for. Do you understand? So this is where Git comes in. Now Git helps you to keep track of your changes, so that even if you make an error, you can always roll back to the previous version of it, and just continue from there. So let's say that while I had written initially, so let's say while I had this, my name is Manuela, right? I saved it and pushed it to and committed it um, with Git. So what it means is that if I wake up and find this kind of error, like an irreparable error, what I have to do is I'll just roll back to maybe the previous commit and start working from there all over again. So that's what basically it does for you, right? So now I have this going on. Sorry, what am I doing? So I have this over here, and let's get back to our command line. So I'm inside my Git tutorial. So I've been doing this work and everything. Now you can see I've created an index.html file. So this is what I have here. I've saved it. So I can also decide to get into my, let me cd into my CSS and also add a CSS file. So because I had CSS but I didn't create any. Okay, I created a file. Let's see. Let me try list. Okay, I have CSS open. So let me also open it with VS Code. I will open styles.css VS Code. Um, okay, so it has opened here in a new window now for me. So let's assume I have some CSS codes inside there. Maybe I've gone to style my body elements. Maybe give it a background color. I'm just adding some basic CSS. Please don't think about it too much. We'll get to this later. So I have CSS, I have HTML. So I've begun working with this, and then I decided, okay, I have this, so and I want Git now to help me to save these changes so that in case I make an error, in case anything happens, I can always come back and continue from at least the closest step behind. So let me go back to Git tutorial. This is where I am, and this is the directory I'm working with, which is Git tutorial. So what I will now do is that I have to initialize Git in this repository. Now if you want to maybe carry out Git commands or anything, you will see that they won't work unless you have initialized Git. So in Git initializing Git in a repository is the first step in you telling Git that I want you to help me track this folder. I want you to help me track this particular project that I'm working on, right? So the first step for you to get started working with Git is what we call Git init. You might have seen this flying around. So init is short for initialize. So when I type Git init, what I'm saying is, oh yeah, Git, it's time to start working. So Git init now, what it does is it will create an empty Git repository for me in this particular folder. So it creates a Git repository. As you can see, it says initialized an empty Git repository in this particular Git tutorial directory. And now this is the empty repository it created for me, or empty folder. So but this is a hidden file. This .git now is a hidden file. So even if I'm still in Git tutorial, even if I do ls, I won't see it. This is all I have here. I have CSS, I have index.html, I have tutorial.txt, but I can't see the .git, right? Although it's inside there. Now this is where ls-a comes in. You remember when I told you about flags? Flags help you to take your work, that's your command that you've typed in, it helps you take it a step further. So now I have ls-a, right? So when I do ls-a now, you can see that even the hidden gate is showing, you understand? And then these other hidden files. So, but now you can see that when I did only ls, it showed me the folders I wanted me to see. But with these ones now, these particular ones that have dots are all hidden folders and you can't see them. Let's check the GUI so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this is it now. You get, if you see how this Git is now, it's not you can see the color is a bit light. It's a bit light. You get, so compared to the CSS. So it's just that's it. So these are the folders I have for now. The files I have, I'm working with. So I have initialized Git in this Git tutorial repository. So I can now start working with some basic Git commands. So we have um what we call committing a change. You have to make commit, you have to stage your changes, all of those things. So a commit is basically when you commit your a file to the empty Git repository, or when you when you commit, basically commit helps you to now to actually save that file. You get, so but before you can commit your file, um you have to stage it. You have to put it in the staging area. So what the staging area does for you is that it helps you to it tells Git to track this project. It tells Git, sorry about that. It tells Git to track whatever changes you make in these files. So Git is keeping an eye on it until when you commit it, and then it's saved. and then that commit now basically Git takes a snapshot of it. So once you commit a change, it's saved in that it's saved as a version. So this is where version control comes in now. You get, so now that one version is saved. If you make another commit, another version is saved, like that, like that. So whenever you need to roll back to a particular commit, you can just get back to that particular commit with that you've done. So but let's see how that works. So for you to add a file to stage a file, and let me say that I have this, sorry, let me clear this so that you can see. So I've cleared it. Let me do list again. So you see what I have in my Git tutorial. So I have the CSS folder, I have index.html, and then I have tutorial.txt. So I want to commit these files to Git. So but it's possible I don't want to commit everything, right? I just want to maybe pick out some. Maybe the only thing I want to commit is index.html. Before I can commit, remember I said you have to stage it first. Staging, if you want to stage a file, you use git add. So like I said, git add is you telling is telling Git, you're telling Git to put this file in the staging area and track it for me. You understand? Track this file until I commit it. So I've done git add now. If assuming that I only want to add my index.html to the staging area, this is what I will do. I will do git add index.html, and then it's tracking index.html for me, right? Now if I want to see what I have in the staging area, what I will do is what I'll do git I'll type git status, and it shows me what I have. Okay, so this is what it says. This is, let's go through the this output. So this is the command I typed in git status, and then it shows me that on branch master, this is the branch that I'm in, master. So I'm in the master branch, and for now my project has only one branch, but we will get to branches soon so that you understand how they work. So I'm in this branch, and on this branch, on this particular branch, which is master, they have not made any commits yet. So this is what Git is telling me. Remember, I just initialized this initialize the Git, so I've not done any commit, so it's telling me that there's no commit, but these are the changes that you have to be committed, right? I have the this is the new file. I just added this to the staging area, so you can see it's in green, which is index.html. So these are the changes to be committed, but Git is telling me that in case I want to remove this file, in case I don't want to stage it again, what I have to do is I just type git rm dash dash cached, and then file. Where you have file, instead of writing this file now, what I'll write is the file, the name of the file that I want to on stage, which is index.html. So if I type this command now, it will remove this file from the staging area, and it no longer tracks it. So that's what it basically means. We'll get to see that happen. Now these are the untracked files that I have. You can see that now these ones are in red. So it's kind of like telling me that you should also be tracking these files if you want, if you have any opportunity, if you have any intention to commit them, you should definitely be tracking these files, because Git can't commit without adding it to the staging area first of all. So it's telling me that these ones in red are untracked. So if I want to remember the command I used git add index.html to add this to the staging area. So if I also want to add these ones, what I have to do is also git add and then the file name. So if I want to add tutorial.txt, I'll just do git add tutorial.txt. Um, that's it. So let me show you how it works for you to unstage a file. So this is I'll do git rm. Let's assume I want to unstage this index.html. I decided I don't want it to track this file again for me. I just want to unstage it. So this is what I will do. So this is this is the command they gave me actually. When you look at it, I have git rm dash dash cached, and then the name of the file, which is index.html. So when I enter this, it has removed index.html for me. Let me run git status again so that you see that it's no longer tracking anything for me. So it shows now. Look at this. Look at what I have here. I have one branch master. There are no commits yet. Now I have 3 untracked files. So these files need to be tracked now. You get. So nothing added to commit, but there are untracked files present. So this is, like I said, you know that the git add, which is staging a file, is it comes right before committing. So it's telling me that there's nothing to commit. They have not added anything that I want to commit, but there are files that I'm not tracking. So if I want to make any commit, I should first of all track these files before I can commit them. So I now have to, because I want to make a commit, right? I will do git add yet again. But now I want to show you a shortcut. So instead of me having to say do git add for all these things individually, I'll come and do git add for this, and then do another git add for this, and do another. I can just do git add and then add a full stop, git add full stop, right? So it adds everything for me to the um it adds everything for me to the staging area. Once again, I will do git status to confirm that it has done what I want it to do. So this is it now. So still no commit yet, but I have these files over here. So um these files now are being tracked for me. They're already in the staging area, and Git is tracking them. So if I want to commit what I'm doing, so this is where Git commit comes in. So let's say I want to commit these changes that I have so far. I want to commit them. So commit, remember I told you commit is telling it to take a snapshot of this particular version of my work. If I make another change and commit that change, that one it takes another snapshot and just keeps these versions for you, so that whichever one you want to roll back to, you can always go back to it. So I have this. So once I do git commit now, remember that I have all these files in the staging area. So once I do git commit, it now commits everything in the staging area. I don't have to commit individually, right? Once everything is in the staging area, once I do git commit, it commits everything, it saves everything for me. So git commit, the command is git commit -m. So -m is another flag that helps you to add a message. What is the commit message you are trying to add to your code, or your particular particular commit that you're working with. So it's necessary that you learn how to write proper commit messages. It's necessary that you learn that you must use commit messages. So commit messages is not just for yourself that you're writing it, you are also writing it for other developers, so that once you take a look at a particular project, you can see that what if somebody makes a change from the commit message, you can already tell, okay, this is the change that they've made here, because they put it in their commit message. So you write git commit with your what's this called, quotation marks, right? And I will just type in the commit message that I want to add. So this is my first commit, so I can decide to call it first commit. You can use anything. No, actually you can use anything, as long as it's clear enough for you to understand, and for other developers to understand, not just for you to understand, but for your future self, in case you decide to come back to this project, so that you can always tell what um the particular commit you've made, what it stands for. So I can try to call this first commit. Some people can say initial commit. You understand? You can say anything. You can even say that I added. You can say I added all files. You understand? You can just say anything. You can say something like this. You can use this. Sorry, use this. I can do this. You understand? Like I can say I added all files for the first time, but this might not be ideal. You understand? Because first of all, it's long. It's almost like an entire sentence. You understand? So it might not be ideal, but there's no rule that says that you shouldn't use. You can just use any commit message that you want to use, actually. So you should learn how to write proper commit messages. So I said that we are naming this first commit. Like I said, some people say initial commit, some people can say anything. So you can just call it first update, anything you want to call it, but it's just a commit message, right? So I've done this right now. So this is what git returns. This is the command I use. I put git commit first commit, right? So Git returns this response. So this tells me that I'm on my master branch. So I've made a commit in the root, and this is like a commit, like a hash code. This is the commit message that I put, first commit. You get. I should probably add that it's best to always keep your commit messages short and simple. So I have my commit message here, first commit. It shows me that I've changed 3 files. I did 23 insertions, and then these are the files that were created for me: CSS, the styles.css file, which is inside my CSS folder, my index.html file, and my tutorial.txt file, which these are what I've committed, right? Now there's something you now need to be aware of. If for instance I want to see, or I'm working like on a project, maybe I've gone to clone somebody's repository or something, I'm working with this and I'm trying to see how much what their commit history is about, I can do Gitlog. So Gitlog shows me the commit history of a particular project. So this so far you can see that this is all I have. If I had done maybe any other previous commits, it will still appear within this area, this response area that I have here. So for now, I have only one commit, which is my first commit, right? So it shows me the date that this commit was made, which is today, Monday, October 17th. See the time, this is the date, this is the time zone, which is GMT +1. So that is it. This is the author. So I'm the one that made this commit now. This is it's showing like this because I'm signed into my GitHub account, remember. So this is how Git knows the particular GitHub account that made this commit, right? So this is the hash, and then this is the branch that it's on branch master, right? So yeah, that is it. So now let's now say that I'm trying to I want to now push this code. Remember that the changes I have so far are all on my local machine, right? This project doesn't exist on my GitHub for now. So I cannot, it's only me that has access to it. But if, for instance, now I'm probably working with somebody and I've done my part kind of, and like, just we are collaborating and I've done my part and I'm trying to get them to, for them to continue, they have to get my own codes and then continue from there. You get. So I have to actually push these codes now. I have to push these codes to GitHub so that any developer that is allowed access to it can get it. So we get to let's go into GitHub. So we'll see how GitHub works. So but before that, you need to know that when you're creating repositories, right? You can either decide to make them private or public. So anyway, let's check out GitHub first of all. But quickly, let me confirm that you can still hear me. Darlington, can you still hear me? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. So I'm going into this is my GitHub profile, and what you see here are different repositories that I have going on. So a repository is like a folder, or yeah, you can call it like a storage folder that stores files for a particular project that you're working with. So now I will come here now, and what I'm trying to do is that I want to push my codes from my local machine to my GitHub account so that it stays on the web, right? So that I can always have access to it. So I come here and then create a new repository. I want to create a new, it's loading. Okay, so I want to create a new repository here. It shows owner, so I'm creating it in my own account. Right, so I will name it, I'll give it a name. So let me call it let me name it, sorry, BUD, standing for BlockchainUNN Developers, Git tutorial. All right. So okay, GitHub does this thing. If you look here, it says it will be saved that this. So when you're writing repository names and you have spaces, GitHub automatically adds dash for you. So, but that's by the way. So I can decide to add a description here if I want to describe this project for people that will come around so that they can see it. I can decide to add a description, but this is optional. I'm going to leave that out. Now I can make my repository public or private, right? So if it's public, anybody that has access to it, anybody can see it, anybody on the internet can see it. And but I still retain like the rights to the repository, so I choose who can commit and all of that. So but that's for making it public. If it's private, I choose who can see it and I choose who can commit to it. So I'm going to leave it as public. And then when it comes to here, I want to Git is asking if I want to initialize it with a readme file. So if I want to let's say that a readme is a file that helps you to like explain what your project is all about and all that. So it's always necessary to add it's always necessary to add a readme file to a project that you're working with, so that you can this is where you get the chance to explain your project and just tell people what your project is all about. So I'm going to use this, add a readme file, and then create a repository. So I'm going to leave all of this. I'm just going to leave this part and just go straight to this. Just add the readme file and create this repository. So all right. So when you look here, you can see that the repository is created for me already. So I have this in my I have this repository created. Now I have remember the files I have build the Git I have Git tutorial in my local machine. So if I want to push the codes I have from there onto the internet, right? So to do that, I will come here over here. I have this. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to push actually. So okay, this is not this is for cloning. We'll get to cloning. So what I'm trying to do is to push the changes I have. Where is my command line? Sorry. So I want to push this to this repository. So um I'm going to copy the link to the repository. What am I doing? Okay. So I'm going to copy this. This is for when you want to push. So pushing basically is like the name implies, it's just for you to push something from your local machine um to the to the online repository, right? So let's do that. um I will come back here. So before I can push, I have to link my repository online. I have to link it to the local, because for now what I have here is different from what I have online. So I have to add it to link it together. So and if I want to link it, I will use a command which is git remote. The remote is the one online, while when you might hear this term used interchangeably, remote is the repository you have online. Local is the repository you have on your device. So I'm going to use git remote add origin, and then I paste the link to that repository. Remember, I copied this. Sorry, I copied this initially. So this is basically me trying to link um my local repository to the remote repository. So I'm going to do this git remote add origin, and then I paste the link to the sorry. So I paste the link to the repository that I'm trying to link it to. So I do this. So now this is what I have, right? And if I now want to push the commit in, remember I made the commit initially, which is this. So now to now push my codes. So this is what I will write this git push origin. So let's see. Okay. Okay, it's returning an error. The current branch master has no upstream branch. To push the current branch, set the remote as upstream. Do this. Okay. The issue is where the problem. I always forget to do this. So my local machine is automatically set to name my main branch. It names it as master, right? So this is where branching comes in now. This is where having working with branches coming, because some of you might face this issue. But when I come to GitHub, my this thing is named as main. The branch I have here, the default branch, that's the word. So the default branch is known as main, while on my device it's named as master. So what I can do is I can either maybe create a branch here. I can create a branch here, create a branch master. So but what it does is that it now pushes my code to the branch, the master branch, which is not like the default. So this thing came about as a naming issue, from not like a naming issue, sha, but just like GitHub changed their he changed their name. They changed the name. I think it was named master initially, and then they changed it to main. So this causes this kind of an issue, right? So um let me get back to my command line. What I usually do personally, what I do to correct this, I rename my master branch, my local branch. I rename it to main, so that it's now the same thing with the name syncs with my GitHub main default branch. So to rename this is just it's not everybody that has this issue, sha. So let's just this is just what I do on my own system. If you don't face this issue, you can just move straight from Git commit. From commit, you go to push, and that's that. But let me just do this and rename my what's it called? Rename my local branch to main. So when I do this, git branch dash m and then main. So it changes the name for me. So you can see it's no longer master now, it's main, right? So I'm going to try git push again. Git push origin. Let's see. Okay, it still has this error. There's a flag that you can use to get over this error. Git push dash u. When you add dash u origin, this should work. If it doesn't work, we go to Google. Okay, now it still has this uh origin. It's asking me to set it has no upstream branch, saying to push the current branch, set the remote as upstream and use git push dash dash set upstream origin main. All right, let's quickly check out. So this is where it comes to you learning how to, sorry, what am I doing? You learning how to use Google as a developer. Personally, what I do, sorry, trying to complete this. Right. Sorry, give me a moment, guys. All right. So let's see what Google has for us, right? Let's see if I can find. Remember what I told you about most times when you're searching for answers like this, sometimes the first answer you see is from Stack Overflow. Why? There are people that have had this issue before, and then you can see how they happen to how they were able to solve that particular problem, right? So let's see. So let's branch to upstream, and sorry, we can't run through. I'm trying to do this fast so that we don't waste too much time doing this. Um, find the easiest option for this, and maybe you can read up on this later. Okay, I think I've seen what I need. Well, let's see. Let's see. Okay, let me clear my. Sorry. Let me clear my terminal and let me see what branch I'm on. Git branch. Git branch tells you what branch you are currently on in case you are working with it. And I am on branch main. Okay, so what's going on? Which is branch main is what I have also on my GitHub account, right? Okay, so let's try this. Git push, issue, origin. I didn't add main before, right? I think that was what caused it. I think that was what caused it. I didn't add main before. I was supposed to add the name of the branch I was trying to push to. Right. Sorry about that, guys. So this was what caused it. I should have added the name of where I was trying to push my changes to. So main. But that's that. So now I'm having some errors. So what's this error saying? It's rejected this because I'm trying to push from main local to main on the remote. And it's saying what? It's saying I should fetch it first because some updates were rejected because the remote contains work that you do not have locally. This is usually caused by another repository pushing to the same ref. You may want to first integrate blah 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 blah. All right. So what's going on is this. When I created my repository, right, I initialized it with a README file. So on my local, I don't have readme.md. So it's like you're trying these two things, it's not correlating for Git. So that's what it means when it says that the remote contains work that you do not have locally. So I have readme on my remote, but I don't have it locally. Right. So a way to solve this, I have to pull down what I have on my remote. I have to pull it down. Git pull is used to bring a change to for a repository that you're already connected to anyway. You have git push, you have git pull. So push pushes from your local to your remote. Git pull pulls some codes from remote. It pulls it from remote down to your local so that you can have this, right? So let me try to pull it down and see. I don't know if there are any confusions, but if you have any, please drop them in the comments, chat. So I will check the comments now to see if there are any confusions, so that I can go through. I can try to explain that. So what I'm trying to do is, um, let me just explain it once again. So I have this error. So it's saying that it rejected this object updates because the remote has some files that I don't have locally. So I'm trying to pull the work I have from my remote. I want to pull it down locally so that I can now commit everything so that it's like in sync, right? So that it syncs together. So let me quickly check if there are any questions. Okay. Okay, I don't see any questions. Obina is asking when we are going to finish. Obina will be done. We're working with 10 o'clock, so we are running to finish up by 10 anyway. So now I'm trying to pull my changes here from my main branch on the remote to local. So let me see what it does for me. Okay. It's saying it's returning fatal. It refused to merge unrelated histories. Um, I'm going to try this again. Git pull origin main, and then I'm going to add this flag, allow unrelated changes. Using flags like this it's basically you forcing Git to do something it doesn't want to do, right? Because it's saying it refused to merge unrelated histories, and now me adding this flag is basically me asking it to just allow it to merge these unrelated histories, right? So let me see if it pulls it down for me. All right, that is done. So this is the result that I'm expecting to get. So I was able to pull this. This is the command I used once again. this is the command I use, this first line. So I'm pulling this from this particular repository on my account. I'm pulling from BUD Git tutorial. So the branch I am on is on my main branch and on the head. So I'm trying to fetch from the head, right? I've been able to pull down. It shows one plus, so which means that I basically pulled down one file, which is my readme.md. So um I've pulled it down to my local. So basically, if I run git push now, what I'm trying to do should work. You get, it should work because now the both the local and the remotes are on the same page, kind of. So let's try git push once again and see what happens. Git push issue origin. Now, remember this was the error I made earlier. I didn't specify the branch I was trying to push to. So now I have to specify that I'm trying to push to my main branch. If I don't specify this, it will probably return an error yet again. So I'm trying to push to the main branch, and let's see. Git push to origin main. Okay, all right. So I've been able to do this. Enumerating objects 9 is done. Blah 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 100%. Um, anyway, this is like a what this entire thing means is that what I've done is successful, right? So I will run back to my GitHub account quickly and see what happens. Now you won't see it here because my page is not refreshed. So let me refresh my page and see if those files have appeared here. And yeah, so the files that I worked with, I've been able to push them onto GitHub. So what it means now is that as I'm working with this, as I've pushed these files up to my GitHub account, anyone on the anyone on the internet that has access to this, once they know the link or anything, or they know my account, they can easily come and find these things because it's public. If it's not public, then I can choose who can see it. You get, but if I'm working with someone, whether public or private, and if it's a private repository, if I give someone access to it and they go into my repository, they can just collaborate with me. So this is now where we talk about the the collaboration aspect of working with GitHub. So GitHub helps you to do things like I'm sorry about all these things. What's going on? Anyway, so GitHub helps you to collaborate with other developers. Remember, it's like on the cloud, so people store their codes on the cloud, and you're able to like work with them and all that. So let me leave my account. Let me go into BlockchainUNN account. This is my own account. I created this repository. So this is my main profile, right? Let me go to BlockchainUNN. This is our GitHub account, right? So let's say that I'm looking for a particular. Let's see. Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, so let me say that I want to look at this particular food this particular repository. So this repository is from one of our previous sessions on HTML and CSS. When we built the NFT preview card components from free code from front end mentor rather. So but we'll get there for you guys to also get to do these things with you so that you get used to it. So this is basically a repository, right? So let's assume now that I'm not working for blockchain UNN or anything. Maybe I'm just trying to collaborate and I want to do something with this particular repository. There are a number of things, there are a number of ways I can commit to this repository. Number one, you have what you call fork. So you can come and fork a repository. So forking a repository means that you are making a copy of this repository inside your own personal account. So now I'm just basically carrying this repository and I'm putting it on my own account. So I have it there. That's about forking. If you're trying to clone a repository, there's something called cloning. So making a Git clone helps you to pull down a particular to pull down a file or a folder or a repository, pull it down to your local machine. So let's assume now that we are working, maybe I'm collaborating with one of you for a file. You've given me the link to your repository online and I want to make some changes. If I don't want to make those changes from GitHub directly, I want to work with them on my computer, maybe with my VS Code, with my just any files I want to use to work on them. I have to clone it. So when making a clone means me downloading everything on your file and putting it on my computer, then I can now make the changes I want to make. When I'm done making these changes, I push them back to um your my repository or to yours. So now, which brings us to making pull requests. So pull request is basically when you've made when you've built something with someone, or when you're building something and I've made a change. Let's say that you built something on your account, right? Or maybe let me just still use this particular repository for instance. Maybe I've come here now, maybe I'll look at the HTML file. I don't like maybe how it is. I can try to fork it to my repository. I can try to just me forking it to my repository means me opening like a different branch for this project, right? So when I do that, I sending it to my repository basically allows me, it gives me that freedom to do anything I want to do. Whatever I do with that repository doesn't affect this main one, which is on BlockchainUNN accounts. Let me quickly make a fork of this and go back to my repository so that we see what we're doing. So I'm creating a new fork right now, creating it to my own account, the Manuela. So this is I'm sending it to my own account, right? I'm copying only the main branch. So everything is okay. If I don't want this description, I can remove it or I can leave it as it is. If I don't like this name, I can change the name. But it's best to always maintain the name, sha. So as you can see here, it says a fork is a copy of a repository. So it allows you to freely experiment with changes without affecting the original project. That's what I basically just explained now. So if I create this now, it's going to appear on my own account as a repository I've added to my account. You can see now it's on my account, the Emanuela, right? And then it shows that this is the origin. This is where it started from. So it was forked from blockchain UNN, right? So anything I do to this file now, whatever happens here, it cannot affect here unless I now open a pull request. This is where pull requests come in. So let's assume now I've forked it here. I've maybe changed the HTML. Maybe I didn't like the color of this design. I said that maybe red will be better or maybe pink. So I change the color and then I come over here and I open a pull request. So opening a pull request is basically you trying to tell the owner of the main the main project you're trying to contribute to, that particular project. You're asking the person, please take a look at these changes I've made to your project. If you like it, please pull it over to your own repository. So pull request basically is when the owner of the projects can go through what you've done. They can check it and see if they agree with what you've done. If they think it's okay, they will pull it over. So it's called pull request because I'm trying to ask them to pull this thing from my account to their own. So what it does is that it now syncs it makes it in sync to their own account. So as long as there are no errors, there are no conflicts in the two branches. So because basically me making a fork of this project means that I've created a different branch. So if the owner of the main file in this instance is blockchain UNN. So if I've opened a pull request now, I decided to change something and I open a pull request, the admin for this account will now say, let me look at what you've done. If they agree, if they think it's okay, they will pull it over, and then once it's once they approve your pull request, it's added to the project, and that is you've made that change. You understand? So this is just a brief of how collaborating um with GitHub works. I think one final thing I need to mention is working with branches. So when you come to a project like this, most times most branches would have will just have the main branch, which is the automatic branch that comes with GitHub. You understand? But even while you're still working on the same project, let me leave blockchain UNN account and get into my own. So let's see what I have here. So I just made this, right? So in my own account now, so I have you can say I have one branch. I have just one branch I'm working with, right? So but even still on this account, I can decide that um as I create a new branch, I can create a new branch. Let me maybe create. Let me just call it new, or let me just call it new branch. Basically, so I'm trying to create a new branch in this project. So yeah, it says create branch from main. So I'll create this branch. So now I'm inside my new branch. So the when you create a new branch, it still copies the changes you have from main to that new branch. So this is my main here, which is the default branch. This is it, right? This is the main, and then this is the new branch. I'm switching to my new branch now. So even if you're not even trying to, even if you're just working on your own, like you're working solo, right? And you're trying to experiment. Basically, the entire goal of this thing, it allows you to try different things and just make sure that you're not compromising your main code. So I can just create this new branch and then decide to make whatever changes I want to make here. If it copies the code, the entire code as it is for me, and brings it over. If you notice, I still have what I have. What I have here, what I have on the main is what I have on the branch. So if you see, it even says it here that this branch is up to date with main. But if I happen to change something now, you will see that it's no longer up to date with the main branch. So let me see if I can add something over here in my README file. So let me just, this is the first, let me add some changes, or adding some changes to my README. My README file. So I'm going to, yeah, this is it. Let me see what it is. All right. So this is what I have. So I will now want to commit this change to my. I've made these changes now. I made this change inside GitHub. Oh. You understand? So you can see it's even possible to make some changes in your Git from GitHub. But you can also decide to clone the project and do that on your local machine. So, but anyway, I said I added this, adding some changes to my README. This is the README. This is the commit message. You understand? The when we did git commit dash m and put this thing. So now GitHub is suggesting this name for me, this commit message for me. So I can just allow it this way. If I don't type anything, it gives it this commit message which says update readme. So except I have a different name, I can just go with it. So I'm just going to leave this. So it says I can add an optional description. I don't want to add that, so I can leave that alone. So it says, do you want to commit directly to the new branch, or do you want to create a new branch for this commit and start a pull request? So I'm just going to commit to the new branch. I want to show you something, which is why I did this. So I've made this I've made this commit now in the new branch. So let's see. Okay, so I did this. I updated readme.md, right? I just did that now. So if you take a look now, you can see what new branch had recent pushes less than a minute ago. So and then it says, remember that I am on new branch, and then it's telling me what this branch is one commit ahead of main. If I switch back to main now, remember, look at this. Just take a look here. What I have here, update readme.md, right? This is the commit message showing that it's a different commit. Let's go back to main and see what the message for that one it says. Okay, it says initial commit. So you can see this one now is behind. It's behind that one. So let me go back to new branch. New branch is one commit ahead of main. So now this is what GitHub is suggesting for me to do. It said new branch had recent pushes 1 minute ago. What do you want to compare it and make a pull request? So let me compare. So I'm going to look at this and okay, this is let's just quickly run through what this says. So I've opened the pull request. I want to show you how the base is the main. I'm comparing main with new branch, and it says Git is telling me that it's able to merge. Sometimes when sorry, GitHub, sometimes it can show you that there are some conflicts. So what it means is that you have to correct the conflict, and then you can merge. But for now, what I added is just a minimal change. So it says it's able to merge. and it says these branches can be automatically merged. So what do I have to do? What I have to do is to create a pull request. So yeah. So I'm going to create a pull request. This process is similar to what would happen if I was not the owner of this account. If I was trying to commit to another person's account, this same thing is what I will do. I will open a pull request, right? So this is it, and it's saying that I want to merge one commit into main from new branch. So I made a change in new branch. I'm trying to merge it to main. So and GitHub is telling me what it has no conflicts with the base branch, so it can be performed automatically, right? So I can just go ahead and click merge pull request, and I will confirm the merge. Okay, so pull request successfully merged and closed. Okay, so I've closed it now, and you can see that GitHub is telling me that I can delete new branch, because if I want to delete it, the work I did with new branch is done. Like I can decide to get done with, like, get it off. But let me quickly go back to here. Let me come back to code. Okay, so I've merged it. I still have two branches though, but now you can see that I am on branch main, and the message has changed from initial commit to update readme. So, and you can see that the changes I added, adding some changes to my readme file, it's already appearing on the main branch. So this is basically how making pull requests works, and having your pull request accepted. So when your pull request is accepted, it just gets merged. Basically, they will merge it to their project, and once it's merged, that means whatever changes you made will appear on the main branch. But you have to be careful with that, because once you compromise whatever you allow into your main branch, it could it's you have to only add something to your main branch when you're sure you want it to, that is what you want to work with, right? So this was just a minor change, but it gets bigger as you're working. So it could just be actually something that can shake your project. So you have to be careful what you commit to your main. That is why it's good to always work with branches first of all, and ensure that what you're trying to do will work well with your previous code before you merge them. So let me check my, I think this is where I want to check inside so that you see what's how it works. I think from network, right? Hope I'm not mistaken. So I'm just trying to, okay. So this is the structure of what's actually happened. So I started my this thing from here. You can see this is my account. Start from first commit, right? um Sorry, I clicked that, so that's what made this to open. So I started from first commit, and then I merged the branch main from my local. I merged it to the main on my remote, right? So from here now, the initial commit also, I moved it to here, and then I created a branch. At this point now, I created new branch. All the changes that was happening in new branch happened over here, and then after I was convinced with what I was doing, I now merged it back to main. So even if I create something else now, it continues on this straight path, right? So this is just kind of like a diagrammatic illustration of what happens where you can use it to just take a look at the timeline of what you've been working on. Okay, this is where I started, though. This is where I made a new branch. This is now where I joined that branch, and my work started, my work continued, you understand? So I think so far we've covered Git commit, we've covered branches, and okay, still on branches, let me quickly show you how branches work on the command line. um let's clear my terminal and then print working directory, so I'll be sure of where I'm at. Okay, I'm inside Git tutorial, right? So there's Git branch. When you use Git branch, this is for my local Git anyway. If I'm using Git branch, I'm trying to see the branches I have. So for now I have just the main branch on my local. Remember, on remote I have two branches there, but for local I have just this main branch. This star shows the current branch that you are on. So let's assume that I want to maybe create a new branch. So if I'm trying to create a new branch, what I do is git checkouts. Let's see, git checkout dash b. So what this does is it creates a new branch and it takes me to that new branch. So let me call this I'm creating git checkout dash b. Let me just call it second branch. Okay, so you can say it says switch to a new branch. So I created it's created the branch for me and they moved me there because I said git checkout dash p. So git checkout only just takes you to a different branch. Let me still do git branch again so that you can see what I mean. So this is Git branch, and like I said, I told you before that this asterisk shows you the current branch you're on. So when you do Git branch, you see where you're working on. If I want to go back to main, what I have to do simply is now the branch works similar to how what I just showed you on GitHub. So it's still for you to make changes and everything. So as I've created this second branch now, whatever I have on my main still appears here. But if I now start making any changes here, I can just start working independently on second branch. When I'm ready, I will merge it to my main and continue from there. You get, so it's always good to know, get used to working with branches in case you don't want to do too much on your main branch. You want to just leave your main branch and be sure that you only commit to it when necessary. Then you should probably create a branch and work on that branch. So if I want to move back to my main branch, I will just do what git check out main, takes me back to my main branch. So it says switch to branch main, and what your branch is up to date with origin main. So origin is the one I have on my remote. So this particular branch, which is main, is up to date with what I have on my um GitHub account. So finally, before we close for tonight, darling, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you went off for a while.
Okay, sorry, I didn't even like. Sorry, how long have I been off for? Has it been long?
No, 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 not long. I think it was not even up to a minute.
Okay, okay, thank God. Okay, so you heard me when I said I wanted us to do Git clone. Did you get that?
Yeah, 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 I got that. But we are a little out of time. It's 12 minutes
Or
past 10 already.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
No.
noticed that. I noticed that. So okay, maybe we'll leave that for Friday's class then, so that we don't waste too much time because it's already past 10, right? So I
Yeah.
think we can just stop here. So guys, that's just, I think with what you've seen so far, maybe you can just try to do some work, right? We'll of course we'll give you an assignment to work on. So you practice what you've learned so far. You have to I've shown you how to fork a repository. So the only thing we've not done yet is cloning. So we'll do that on Friday, and then you will have your assignments which will involve you both to fork a repository and to clone it and make some changes. So we'll do that. But so far, with what you've learned, I would advise you to go over it. You can come back to this video and just go through what um what we've done for the day, and yeah, just try to learn more. If you missed anything, you can also just refer back to this um just to refresh your memory, right? So but I think what we have today, I think um that should keep you busy for a while. So just ensure to practice and try to get used to it. As always, please feel free to ask questions on the group chat, or you can reach out to anybody you think that knows. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Darlington. You can reach out to some other people that you know that they can probably help you out. Please feel free to reach out and ask questions. Feel free to use your Google and what's it called, and Stack Overflow just to ask questions and try to get used to these things. So you learn how to do something by practicing it. So I would urge you to always practice, go through what we've done today, and practice and try to get used to it, right? So I think we've done enough for today. So thank you very much. Let's save our time and try not to stay too late. So
Yeah,
thanks everyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much, Emanuela. I greatly appreciate your time. You've spent a whole deal of time teaching us Git and GitHub, and we deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming around. And yeah, thank you so much, guys, for staying till this point. It's not really easy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Like she said, we're going to be giving an assignment after the session. So please try to do the assignments because that's how you grow, right? And if you have questions, we'll be having a revision class on Friday and we'll be going over some of the things we just said today. So please try to be around on Friday. And yeah, you can actually always come back to this session. The video will be live on our would always be there on our YouTube channel. So you can come back to reference it if you get confused at any point in time. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, guys. Would call it a day.